And I think as well for accessibility, there's a recommended font and there's a recommended font size for accessibility, which we need to start implementing into all of our documents, and I'm sure the new CAO will understand and push that as well. So we'll send this tender out. Next, number 3, engagement, the auditor's letter and independent auditor's report, Appendix A. That's for information. Is there any discussion, any questions? Okay, next item on the list is the resolution for hiring CAO Robert Tremblay. So this is to move the bylaw to the special council meeting tonight. So you're going to have another motion in the special council? Okay. Okay, so moved by Councillor Mackay, seconded by Councillor Regier. Be it resolved that the Corporate Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to Council to appoint Robert Tremblay as Chief Administrative Officer, should that not be /clerk, effective December 19th, 2016, and move bylaw 1612-906 to the special council meeting later on this evening. Any discussion? All those in favor? Passed. Carried. And that's it for me. Dave Mackay, you're up.
Moved by Charlene Jackson, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Public Works Property and Protection Committee accepts the recommendation by staff to accept the lowest request for proposal, PW-2016-07 from Freightliner in the amount of $252,952.76 plus HST for the 2017 Freightliner Tandem. Bill, do you want to talk about that?
So we tendered this truck back in the late summer and found out that our tendering process has some flaws in it. So once the new CEO gets here, I'd like to go over with him some of the problems we found with it during this process. So we put it out as an RFP because the truck it will replace is a 1994 International, and in order to have that truck safety this year, it was going to cost a little over, an estimated cost of over $25,000 to safety this truck. And just after we got the estimate back, one of the rear ends fell out of the truck as well, so the truck is parked. So the RFP came in. We had 5 replies, 5 different trucks to look at through the RFP. The mechanic and I came up with a list of, I think it was 6 things to score the truck on, and this truck that we've picked had the highest score through that process. So that's why I brought it to you people tonight. Being it's already December, we had budgeted $125,000 in reserves for this year for this truck, with the balance to go to pay for out of the 2017 budget. So we have half in reserves now. The other half would come out of next year's budget. And we wouldn't be billed until basically January for it now anyways.
Jackson?
The reason why I asked to see the motion is because it said 252,952.76 plus HST, but that includes HST.
Yeah.
So it was 223,852 plus HST for a total of 252,952.76. So it includes HST, it's not plus. I just made that change.
Any other questions? So you're satisfied with that truck, Bill?
Yep.
I was talking to the mechanic, he seems that's a truck they can handle.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's a heavy built truck. The truck, when I spoke with them during the process of scoring the truck, they figured it was still in production last week. I think it's supposed to be ready this Friday, so we'd have it basically immediately.
Mayor Johnson?
Is that through Freightliner or Ottawa?
North Bay.
Freightliner, North Bay.
Yep.
Any other questions? That's house balls. I guess we can vote on it. So we're gonna have a vote on that? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, Councillor Olmsted?
As we're in committee, I'd like to ask Bill a question just about the state of the other trucks.
Okay.
So overall, our fleet, obviously we must be in much better shape. What does the future look like for the other 3 or 4?
I'm going to have the mechanic go over the trucks again. There's one more truck that it's getting to the age where we seriously, I don't know if it's going to make it another 2 years. We hope to get another 2 years out of it. And once we get that done, then, you know, trying to get back into the routine of replacing a truck every 2 years. We have 7, so then your oldest truck is still 14 years old, which is, it's old enough for what we do with them. You know, the city of Ottawa is 10 years or 100,000 kilometers. So we're pushing it.
Any other questions? Okay, letter from you, Collins.
Did you not get a copy?
Oh, yeah, you read it.
Do you want discussion on it? Has everybody should have received a copy? Okay, would you like to speak on it, Bill?
I'll speak on it a little bit, but I didn't bring it to council or committee, so Mr. Collins, apparently there was a part of our sidewalk machine that fell off at the end of his driveway or near the end of his driveway, causing a problem with his snow blower. He came to my shop the day of the snowstorm and said, "Is this yours?" And I said, "It looks like it could be," but so anyways, he said, "Well, it's going to cost $500 to fix my snow blower." I said, "Well, unfortunately, I can't make that decision here and now. You can contact the office or contact your insurance company, just like we tell everybody else that has a problem breaking something on our roads or anything else." So I guess this is where we ended up.
Was it our part?
Yes, I believe it was.
Comments? Councillor McLaughlin?
Yes, it is. I had a phone call from Huey, who said not only one part, but there was 2 parts.
Yeah, there was.
There was a bolt or some, I think a bolt. I don't understand exactly. These pieces fell off or came off of our sidewalk plow. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and because he found the bolt, and then because the shear bolts broke, I guess, so he found the bolt, put the shear bolts back in, tried it again, and that's the point where the shear bolts, I think, broke again, if I'm not mistaken, in the conversation. And at that time, he'd taken it to, McFarland's in Eganville. And when they looked at it, I think, there's the tune of $800 and some is what he spoke to me, because there's augers that are twisted, and I think the fan is twisted.
Well, that day he told me 500. In his letter here, he has 750, and he told you 800.
Well, anyway, I know the blower went to, and the reason he was gonna wait until he got the total cost to send a letter, and I said, no, send a letter now, so we could bring it to committee rather than having to wait till January to talk about it. I don't know, I've never, in my 15 years, I've never seen anything quite like this.
Well, we've had problems before where people have hit ice or hit chunks of stuff that have fell off our trucks, and it's always been the same thing, contact your insurance company. That's why we pay $156,000 a year for insurance at this municipality.
Councillor Jackson?
I think you had indicated that the snow blower had actually broken down at the end of his driveway?
He in his letter, he says he... No,
Our machine broke down?
No, his.
Okay.
A piece fell off our sidewalk machine.
Did we know that a piece fell off?
Not until he came in, because the piece that was on it, we hook up either the plow or the blower to that machine.
Right.
And there's one piece that stays on it to hook up the blower. So that morning, the operator had the plow on it.
Right.
And the piece that we use to hook up the blower, that normally stays on the machine, it fell off that morning. Don't know how, came loose. He had done all of Westmeath and Beachburg and didn't have a problem. And I guess at Foresters Falls, right at his driveway, unfortunately this piece fell out.
Normally we do ask for people to contact their insurance, and then they go through their insurance to claim against. It's the same as an accident, no fault insurance. That's why it is what it is. So he would have to go through his insurance, and they would have to come to us.
That's how we've treated everything else, yeah.
Yeah, but would you have insurance on a snow blower?
We have insurance on everything.
No, do we?
We have
No,
insurance.
do they? Would he have insurance?
He would have house insurance.
Okay. Reeve Miller?
I don't want to be hard on Huey, and it'd be nice to help him out a bit, but I think, I'm assuming that this windrow of snow was on municipal property.
Yes, he said it was at the end of his laneway.
Yeah, and when you go onto municipally owned or government-owned property, you assume a certain risk. And I know this from experience with a rock coming off a truck. When you go on a road, you assume a certain amount of risk no matter what on that road. And it's hard to get a liability claim. So going to his own insurance is the way to go. But with that said, from a PR standpoint, I would be inclined to offer him a portion after the fact and after the insurance work is done. Thanks.
Anybody else? Phil?
For that, you're going to have many, many people in here looking for money. I'm just saying.
Mayor Johnson?
Unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on which side of the issue you're on, I suppose, but no-fault insurance was put in place specifically so that everybody started out with calling their own insurance company, then they handled it from there, and again, unfortunately, he picked up something that fell off of our snow blower, but it's still, no matter how you look at it, it wasn't thrown into the snow on purpose. So we have to follow the procedures and policies that are in place for quite some time.
And that's what I informed him that day.
Exactly, and you know, everybody'd like to help, but we just couldn't afford to do it with everybody. It's very, very unfortunate. Again, I firmly believe that the shear bolt should have stopped his auger from being bent. I really do. That's...
Yeah. Okay, that concludes Public Works. Thank you. Turn your mic off. Okay. Darrell,
before you conclude, I mean, are we going to at least send a letter back or on the decision? I don't think we even came up with a decision, did we? Did we? Then could we have direction then that maybe staff sends a letter back to Mr. Collins with the decision?
Bill?
Mr. Collins was informed the day he came in that he needed to contact his insurance company, so he has been informed. If he went farther, I see it's addressed to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just thought it would be kind of courtesy to send him some acknowledgement, but that's fine.
Mayor Johnson?
We received the letter, and so we could ask Marcia to send them back a clarification of all the procedures and policies, short letters stating that this is what you have to do and this is what we can do, but we can't do anything.
Reid Miller?
The mayor just said what I was going to say. It's just common courtesy to respond somewhat with a letter.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. I agree with the Reeve.
Hello again. We'll open the planning committee portion of the meeting. First item on the agenda is the resolution to accept the resignation of Terry Miller from the Economic Development Committee. I think everybody's read that. Discussions? Chair, Councillor Jackson?
I'd kind of like to know the reasons why. It was stated in an email that there was concerns with regards to, and is it Economic Development Committee as a whole, or is it the Development Committee that was appointed for the 3 people? So I'd kind of like to know what the concerns are so that we should know what those concerns are.
Mayor? You have to hold it.
Because they struck the committee, I feel it's my responsibility to give the reasons. Reeve Miller and I talked the morning after we struck the committee, and there were concerns about how it would move forward, and I voiced my opinion that I wasn't sure if it was going to do what we wanted it to do, and I definitely wasn't encouraging, I guess. So, having said that didn't give Terry any confidence in what was going on. But I had no right to put him into a situation he wouldn't be happy with. We'll say that. But to go a step further, if I might, the meeting that we had, the very first meeting that we had, definitely, I would have to say, was very good. And so if I thought it wasn't going to work or whatever, I would definitely have to eat crow and be very, very outspoken with the fact that this committee, for what they're doing and what they're going towards, have started a very good process, and I'm impressed. Doesn't matter how I feel now. I misled Terry, I think, so I have to apologize more about me than the committee, I believe, and what we discussed, I think, would be the problem. If that's not the case, then I apologize again, but I believe it was mostly me that the problem was. So then I said in the email back that I would be the chair, but I can't be the chair after talking to Marcia, because I would be claiming pecuniary interest at almost every meeting. So, I asked Dave if he would take Terry's place. It might be, I have given a lot of stuff recently to Charlene, and I just didn't think that making her the chair of this was necessary. We're doing a lot of work with the environmental and so on and so forth with JP2G, and we really need to concentrate on that. Everything is important, but that was why I made the decision I did, and with some consultation with Marcia. If
Councillor Jackson?
So again, the comment is it for the Economic Development Committee or is it for the Development Committee? And does that fairly accurately represent your thoughts?
As far as we'll be discussing it here, yes.
Mayor?
it's only for the three-person committee that Reeve Miller has to be.
I'll reread the motion just so everybody's clear. Be it resolved, the Planning Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region accepts the resignation of Reeve Terry Miller as Chair for the Economic Development Committee. Yeah, I don't think it's the entire... What did we name the committee? Just Development Committee? So we'll just strike the word economic from that. So it'll read Reeve Terry Miller as Chair for the Development Committee.
Can we table this? I move that we table this motion and the next motion.
This would have to be okay. Well, we only have a mover. We don't have a seconder. And it's not from lack of trying.
And we did it so we could bring the discussion forward, so.
Nobody else would second it. So is that okay with the mover?
Absolutely.
Okay, and the next item, yes.
Okay, Al asked me to be on this committee, chair, but I don't care if I'm a chair. I don't like to be just thrown in there and you want to be a chair, you want to be, it doesn't bother me. I'll work on this committee and I'll help you out, but I don't care if I'm the chair. It just seems like it just got sucked into my house.
I'd like to table both of the motions. I'd like some further discussion on it at some point.
Is all of council okay with that? Councillor McLaughlin? No? Oh, no, not yet. No, I'm looking for further discussion. Okay, so the second motion, which is, there's no mover, but there is a seconder, which is Kathy. And actually, it wasn't Erica. She did try to get a seconder on the first
So
one.
then there's no motion on the table,
On the
period.
first or on the second one, yeah,
It doesn't have to
so-
be tabled because there's no motion on the table.
So we'll strike both of these from the meeting. Is everybody okay with that? Good. On to the last item, transfer property back to Mr. Delmer Lavely. Yes, Doug, you want to come and speak for that?
Good evening, everyone. In 2009, Mr. Lavely did a subdivision on Cardell Street, and there was 2 lots transferred to the township for security for maintenance and development of the road. Mr. Lavely has finished the road, and I would suggest that we transfer the lots back to him as the agreement says, and he has to pay the legal costs of the transferring it back into his name.
Discussion. Bill, just a question for you, Bill, about the roads. You're happy with the state of the roads?
Yeah, we, probably in the new year, we'll be bringing something forward to accept it into our system. That last part hasn't been accepted yet.
Okay. Reeve?
So just for me to be clear, the lots get moved back to Delmer's possession. That was the issue here. And the road comes into the possession of the municipality now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Just let's make sure we're talking about the same thing. The first part of the subdivision of Delmer Lavely's was where the cul-de-sac was, okay? Then Delmer come back to council and agreed, or council agreed that he could extend that T okay, to create them other two lots. We're not talking about them two lots. We're talking about two lots in the first original 14 lots.
That's clear now, because the other issue that you and I were talking about is separate to what we're just talking about here now.
That's 100% correct.
Okay, we're good.
Any other discussion? I'll read the motion. Be it resolved, the Planning Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region transfers the lands legally described as Plan M54, lots 5 and 10, that were held in lieu of security to Delmer Lavely, and all fees associated with the transfer be paid by Mr. Lavely. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
And do you want to take a 5-minute break?
We gotta adjourn it first.
Oh.
Please.
You want me to adjourn
You
it?
wanna just pass it over to Hal? and you can
There's not two E's, no, there's two.
I can adjourn it, can I?
Sir.
Be it resolved, the Council and Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region adjourns the December 7th, 2016 meeting at 7:06 p.m. Moved by Charlene Jackson, seconded by Kathy Rieger. All in favor? Carried.